Black people have been asleep for too long. It's time to wake up. It's past time to realize that as long as we keep disrespecting sacrifices and sufferings of our forefathers, foremothers, and ancestors, we will continue to be less than we can be. I have come up with the word Comphology, stemming from the words of comedy and theology. It means trying to be funny while talking about serious things. But depending on the topic, the balance may lean more towards funny or more towards serious. Today, June 23rd, 2007, I'm declaring a verbal Black Civil War. The key word is verbal. Black people need to stop using the N-word. When I say the N-word, I'm talking about the words N-I-G-G-E-R, N-I-G-G-A, N-I-G-G-A-H, however you may know to spell the word. Black people need to stop using the N-word because essentially either of those words is the same word. Instead of using the N-word, I will either say the N-word or I will say the word trigger, because I stopped using the N-word in 1979. I mean, millions of black people died in America during the Black Holocaust. More than 150 million people, black people, died just traveling here from Africa. And millions more died in this country because of lynchings, beatings, starvation, and the N-word was used by these haters as they inflicted this living hell on us. And for any black person to use the N-word, I don't see how they could be conscious and yet do that. And I feel like we will wake up because we definitely have been asleep for far, far too long. I've come to the conclusions that there are black brothers and black guys. A black brother is a black man that he cares about the well-being and betterment of his people. And he wants to make money, but money is not number one as far as having limits of disrespecting your own people. Whereas a black guy is a black fella that could care less about the well-being and betterment of his people as long as he can make a dollar. I want to mention a few black brothers and a few black guys. One black brother is a brother named Terrence Howard. This brother has had major parts in major films: Crash, Hustle and Flow, Lackawanna Blues, and he used to use the N-word. But the brother has come to the realization that this ill affects the well-being of our people, and therefore has decided he will not use the N-word anymore. Whereas on the other hand, we have one black guy that calls himself Cedric the Entertainer. If you've seen him, you know he's not that good of an actor. And he took a part in the movie where he had the nerve to actually say that Martin Luther King wasn't nothing but an H-O. But he didn't spell it out, he said it out. And he thought there was nothing wrong with that. It's a shame that we have some of our people that have no respect for the suffering of our forefathers, foremothers, and ancestors right here in this country, and will stoop low as that just to make a dollar. There's another black brother I want to mention, a brother named Paul Mooney. Paul Mooney is a comedian. This brother used to use the N-word. He probably used to use the N-word longer than any of these other brothers have been alive. But he at least has finally come to the realization that for a black man to use the N-word, even if he's not embracing it for love or whatever, he knows that it's not a good thing. Because when Paul Mooney used to use the N-word, he used to use it primarily to irritate white folks, whereas we have a guy named Cat Williams that he uses the N-word to make black people look like fools, you see. And I'll be hollering back on that Cat Williams fella in a little bit, but right now I'm gonna mention another black guy named Damon Wayans. Damon Wayans, this fella, not only uses the N-word and embraces it, he's trying to get a clothing line named under the N-word. Now, I've heard that this fella and his siblings were raised in the truth. By the actions and ignorance that he displays publicly, I find that very, very hard to believe. I'm gonna talk about another black brother that I know. This black brother, I happen to know him personally, who lives in Dallas, Texas. His name is Harvey Johnson. He's president of a youth mentoring organization called Black Men Who Care Incorporated. And he has friends and fellas and buddies. They play dominoes, cards, or whatever else they do. But if anybody starts using the N-word, he let them know we don't have that around here. And if that person said, well, they say what they want to say, well, they can do that, but they're going to have to do it somewhere else because they're not tolerating it. And I do love that type of thing. Whereas we have another black guy, Chris Rock. Chris Rock, he was on a show called Larry King Live, who was a white man. And he was talking to this man about how it's okay for black people to use the N-word. And every time he would say something like, we can use the N-word and it's okay, he'd look at the white man and throw to say, is that okay, boss? Is that good, boss? That's Chris Rock. See, what we're gonna have to do is start spanking some of these people. That's what we're gonna have to do. I'm serious about that. Got one more black brother I'd like to talk about. This black brother, he lives in Los Angeles, California. His name is H. Lewis Smith. He's author of a book titled Bury That Sucker. And yes, he's talking about the N-word. It needs to be buried. He's also CEO and founder of a national organization, UVCC, United Voices for a Common Cause. And that purpose is to inspire our people to display self-respect, pride, and dignity, rather than to be like some of these black guys over here and act like buffoons to the world. Moving right along. There's a black fella named Jay-Z. I don't know if y'all know who Jay-Z is. Jay-Z, I'm talking about, he's a rapper and an entrepreneur. I saw on the internet where he said that it's okay to use the N-word because it's a constitutional right, freedom of speech. Have y'all seen Jay-Z lips? In case you haven't, I'm talking about lips like Dallas County Commissioner John Wiley Price, comedian Chris Thomas, Bill Bellamy, Steve Harvey, Cheryl Underwood, Erykah Badu. As a matter of fact, this is Erykah Badu. These are the type of lips I'm talking about right here. These lips are a sign of royalty. That's what they are. And for any of these people to allow the N-word to roll off of their lips, knowing the struggle and the plight of our people in this nation, they're ill affecting the heritage from which these lips have come. Now, I wasn't blessed with the royal lips, but I got the royal nose. You feel me? The FBI is well known for having projects against black people. Like one historical and big and important one, COINTELPRO. That was short for Counterintelligence Program. That was a program they used where they were spying on all black leaders. They used illegal wiretaps. They would pay black traitors to infiltrate black organizations and to disrupt peaceful marches and protests so that the police officers could move in and murder some people as they did Fred Hampton, and move in, disrupt the marches. They would maybe bust a window, and then the police could justify coming and beating and arresting marchers, and therefore disrupting the effort of black people uniting. I believe that's what Cat Williams and some other people are being paid to do by embracing the N-word. I believe that they're being paid to keep the black community disrupted by embracing that word. Cat Williams, this fella, like I mentioned earlier in his stand-ups using the N-word compared to Paul Mooney and his stand-ups where he used to use the N-word but doesn't anymore. Cat Williams is so disrespectful to black people when he's talking, calling us all kind of N's. This fella is a disgrace even to the gay race. I'm talking about another guy, D.L. Hughley. Now, the thing of it is, you want to talk about people. Well, you need to look at people's track record. Back when Cedric the Entertainer had the nerve to say Martin Luther King wasn't nothing but a H.O., This fella, D.L. Hughley, was on BET, which stands for Black Entertainment Television, that was founded by a black man but now owned by white men. He was on that show and he first said that he want to start doing things of substance when he does his talks. And on that same show, it was a black brother asked him how did he feel about Cedric Entertainer talking about Martin Luther King being nothing but an H.O. And this guy, D.L. Hughley, said with a smirk on his face like, well, he was. That Martin Luther King was an H.O. Come on now. Now, I said about a track record, that was back then. It was just within a week that this fella, D.L. Hughley, embraced a phrase by some white guy that lost his job on national TV and radio for calling some black lady basketball players nappy head H.O. And this guy, D.L. Hughley, has now said he feels the same way and he doesn't care what anybody say. And I say, we need to start spanking some of these people. And I'm not talking about putting our hands on them. I'm talking about hitting them in their pockets. I'm talking about boycotting them. I'm talking about not supporting them in any shape, form, or fashion. I'm talking about any company that's affiliated with them that won't drop them. We're talking about spanking them where it hurt them, right in their pockets. And since they don't love black people, us black people gonna not love them. Now I know it's some Christians that say we're supposed to love everybody. That's true, well God loves us all, but he's still gonna destroy some of us. The Asians and Jewish people have shown us the way. Unity within their community. That's what we need, unity in our community. Black people are creative, resourceful people, so I know we can come up with whatever we want and whatever we need for us and our people, and we can do these things, singing, rapping, whatever else, without embracing the N-word. It's this fool rapper named 50 Cent. He says that he's going to talk bad about black people as long as he wants to. He don't care what anybody says. Well, I say, well, let's spank 50 Cent. Let's spank him to the point where when he starts seeing them dead presidents roll away, then maybe he'll change his mind and his attitude. It's time to quit playing with some of our people. So what we need to do is make sure that we do the things that will assure that our forefathers, foremothers' efforts, sacrifices, and suffering will not be done in vain. So essentially, we need to handle our business. But one thing that I can say, brothers and sisters, is that at least we do have it halfway right. We do not allow anyone else from another color to call us out of our name with the N-word. Now, historically, we have tolerated ourselves using the N-word, but that has to change. We need to realize that just like we do not allow anyone else to disrespect us with this word, we don't need to allow us to disrespect us or our forefathers, foremothers, ancestors by using and embracing this word. It's time for us to wake up. It's time for us to do different. I thought about this fella. He's an actor, singer named Tyrese. This fella had a love song that could have been just so great. But unfortunately, he messed his love song up with one word, the N-word. I mean, the song was sounding so good and he was saying such good things. He was telling this woman how good things were gonna be and he was all this and all that, and that how she had herself a good end. I mean, come on now, why couldn't he have said a good man? Or if it had to be 2 syllables, why not a good brother? I know black people are better than this. We need to show respect, self-respect, and at least stop using the N-word. There's a national organization, UVCC, United Voices for a Common Cause. And they have a website that you can go to. It's www.theunitedvoices.org. And if you don't understand what I'm saying to you about this N-word, I'm sure that site will help you understand. Snoop Dogg was very respected by Tupac Shakur, and I respect and love Tupac. Tupac Shakur, I believe, was evolving when he died. And I believe he would have stopped using the N-word, therefore encouraging other black people to stop using the N-word. So Snoop Dogg, I'm asking you, out of the respect that Tupac had for you and the love that we have for Tupac, and to help our people help themselves by denouncing the use of the N-word by black people. This will especially be good for our youth. As a matter of fact, I have a rap that I call poetry rap, a rap poetry called Drug Problem, because I know we need to, as adults, have messages that help our youth understand certain types of information and certain ways of living. It's our responsibility to show our youth which way they need to go and not to go. Like I said, our youth need us adults to give them some messages and some information that they can use. Self-preservation is the #1 law of nature. So you got to love your own and yourself before you can love someone else. One of the biggest problems around, people doing drugs that keep themselves down. Some do it because they think it's cool. If you think like this, then you're the big fool. No one cares if you succeed or get ahead. Keep on doping and then you'll be dead. I was once the one that thought drugs was fun. Then my eyes opened, I didn't want none. I could have had trouble, I could have done time. Cause many times the dopes that do a crime. Sometimes I would do it, sometimes I would not. I was on heavy drugs, much stronger than pot. If I had have been caught when I did the crime, I'm not really sure if I could do the time. Cause I know a little fella that did go to jail. He was turned out badly and he lived to hell. I try to tell the fellas to leave drugs alone. When you puff on the pipe, then man, you're on your own. Life could have been better, but your head was stone. Now you messed up on dope and down and all alone. Down and all alone. Down and all alone. Down and all alone. There's whack, tack, smack, and crack. Either one of these items will lay you on your back. Those affecting the nation, inflation, population. This one thing is killing our younger generation. I know that parents, they care about their own, but you've got to get closer, make sure that love is shown. Cause sometimes our message is so misunderstood. If they really knew our meaning, then listen, sure they would. But drugs doesn't only affect the very young. So many of our grown-ups are high and very strong. So we need to get together and lend a helping hand and try to slow the interest and lower the demand. Those affecting the blacks, the whites, yellow, and brown. Dealers making the law enforcers look like clowns. So let's get together in all seasons weather and let it be known we're fighting drugs together. Cause criminal minded, you've been blinded, looking for a way out, but now you can't find it. In the pen, some in the pen again. Hear me, see me, hope you feel me. I want to mention a few brothers and a few sisters, some because of their inspiration, some because of the guidance they provided, and some because of the stances they have taken for our people and all people. Adam Clayton Powell Jr., Arthur Ashe, Dr. Khalid Abdul Tariq Al-Mansour, Mary Fields, Bobby Seale, Betty Shabazz, Carter G. Woodson, Cecil B. Moore, Dorothy Heights, Duke Ellington, Fred Hampton, Frederick Douglass, George Washington Carver, Geronimo Pratt, Harriet Tubman, Huey P. Newton, Iverson, James Brown, Jim Brown, Jesus, King David, Coretta Scott King, Louis Farrakhan, Lena Horne, Michael Jackson, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., Muhammad Ali, Marcus Garvey, Medgar Evers, Master P, Nat Turner, Oprah Winfrey, Paul and Peter, Q Dogs, Thurgood Marshall, Stevie Wonder, Shaquille O'Neal, Tony Brown, Vince Young, Andrew Young, the Warriors, Willie, and Zulu. I love you and I thank you. From the words of Marcus Garvey, up, you mighty people. All for one and one for all. Peace.